Welcome to another Wednesday. We're waiting on Bren, but we have Furloco and Dexy here from Bridgely Labs. What are you looking at, Furloco?
Happy Wednesday, man. Well, looking at many things. Are we waiting for Brian to join us here in a minute, or are we kicking this off?
We can kick it off. He'll be on in 3 minutes.
Okay.
Normally, it's a better move to just start going. People log off the first minute if no one says anything. They have
Yeah.
other meme coins to look at, so
No, definitely. Look at the meme coin market is interesting. I think what's what's very interesting. I guess the most important headline of today is the CPI numbers, right? Which technically we should all be happy, right? Like the CPI inflation finally, I think it has fallen below 3% for the first time since 2021, right? Which is technically good. It means that the Fed tightening for the last 2 years or year and a half has worked. Now, has Powell and the Fed overshot? And now we are kind of like entering a recession. A lot of people saying that's the case. And so, it's still August, slow month. Not everyone is back in the office trading, so volume is low. But, overall, the market's kind of like reacted positively starting the day, and now looks like it's a fairly flat day, to be honest. Crypto is slightly selling off. Bitcoin was at some point above 61,000. Now it's back at 58, 59,000. But the Nasdaq, QQQ, SPY, all of those are fairly flat today. And then the dollar definitely strengthened on the news, right? So the DJI that measures the strength of the US dollar, it's up slightly today. Other things we're looking at, the VIX is down 10%, which measures the volatility in the market. And that's a positive, right? Normally, when there's high volatility, that means there's uncertainty. Investors kind of like scared, and that's kind of like what we saw in what I call the Blood Sunday, right? It was the August
right.
5th,
That August 5th,
where August 5th, that's the Blood Sunday. I'm gonna call it, which when everything sold off, uh, massively. Volatility spiked. The index has spiked. I believe it was above 30. I can't remember what it was. Now it's at 16, right? So it spiked oh wow, it spiked all the way to 60. Okay, and then it came back to 40. But anyways, that was a crazy day. Volatility is back now at almost regular levels. I think it's at 16. When the markets are doing well, you want to see it at least under 15, in between 10 and 15. And so, yeah, I think it's just what you could expect of mid August, right? It's just boring. People are not in the office. They're not trading. They're not buying anything. The outlook for the market is not very exciting either. So you are not seeing any rally following that, massive sell-off. You saw a little bit of a bounce last week, but it's just where we are. Where are you looking at today, Danksy?
I'm on the equity side. What do you think? Bull trap or uncertain? I mean, it seems like it's just a from I guess July to that first week of August, we've been having downtrend, but it seems like it's reached that almost halfway point now. Um, I mean, I think we're
Yeah,
gonna get to that. I really think we're gonna hit all-time highs relatively soon, and then I don't know, but
yeah,
it seems like everything is getting blown over. Um, Election season's coming up, so that's kind of the big what if in the future. But the Middle East stuff is kind of not as explosive as people expected. The
yeah,
war in Ukraine, they opened a new front into Russia, but I think it's
yeah. Looks
it's just
like it's
typical.
de-escalating. It's
Yeah, it's
de-escalating.
typical war
It looks like,
maneuvering.
yeah,
So not too not too surprising there, but It seems like if you bought the dip, it might have been a good move, but it's still hard to tell. Um,
Yeah, I'm in the same boat, and I saw that Bren just joined us. Bren, how are you doing today, man? Good to see you.
Good. My bad for being a few minutes late. I was just coming back from the gym.
All good,
Can
all good.
you guys can hear me, right?
yeah, you're good.
Yes.
All right, perfect. What's up, guys? How you guys doing?
Pretty good. Happy Wednesday.
You,
Um,
you too. You too.
I mean, the surprising thing to me is Nvidia. I mean, it's people are saying that you need to see a large correction here, but it's holding at that like
Well, yeah. Well,
pre-split 1,100, 1,100,
yeah.
twelve
Yeah.
hundred
Well, it did
almost. So
significantly, right? I mean, I think it dropped about 35%. Well, it did, right? 35% from all-time highs, and then now it's bouncing up. Even Tesla went back to 182 or 83, and now it's back above 200. So I think stocks are definitely recovering better and faster than crypto. But I want to hear Brent's thoughts. We were just discussing that technically CPI numbers were supposed to be bullish, right? But I think it's just there's not enough appetite and volume in the market right now to really even react with so much uncertainty coming up in the next few months.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think if that number probably would have come out at a different time of the year, it might have pushed things up more. But it was really only like point one. It was an unexpected result. Like it was what is
Yeah.
only 0.1%. 10% under the expectations. So not surprised to see it, everything moving up, but not surprised it didn't move up too much either. But yeah, I like I said, those last stream, I think we did last week, I had said that I do think stocks have likely bottomed here. The S&P 500 specifically had bottomed out, and that we'd likely see a new all-time high here pretty soon.
Mhm.
And at this point, the odds that we go back to all-time highs from here are very high. So looking good on that. And then to kind of touch on the de-escalation thing, I mean, we were talking about poly market last week. I had
Mhm.
my only bet that I made on there last week was that, or this last week was that Iran would have some kind of military escalation or whatever by Tuesday, and I said no. I think 3 or 4 days before, got a nice
Mhm.
15% off that, and then 2 days ago as well, it was like whether they would attack by Friday, this Friday in 2 days. And it was at
Mhm.
like 30, it was like 65-35 at that point. I took the no at 35 and doing pretty well on that. So I agree with
Nice.
you guys on that too. It does look like everything's kind of de-escalating. Usually that's how these things go. It's unless something catastrophic, completely unexpected, like some kind of attack that comes out of nowhere or something like that happens. Usually it doesn't move markets much. Again, it's the unexpected results that move markets. I mean, even if they were to attack right now, it would create some volatility, but they've been
Yeah.
telegraphing it this whole time. Even if they do attack, I don't think it's necessarily going to crash markets like 20%. I could be completely wrong, but that's not usually how these things go when things are telegraphed. So
yeah,
Yeah.
Brent, I took the opposite on your trade on the Friday one. Getting
yeah,
crushed, but yeah, I agree. I mean, the last Iran attack did nothing, right? They sent like a couple hundred missiles and they all got shot down. Um, I don't think it seems like Iran doesn't have the capability to or have the appetite to escalate right now,
yeah.
especially in the Middle East.
Yeah. There's too much in play, and they know. So I would first of all congratulations, Bren. You took the right bet. But
Thank
yeah,
you. Thank
I don't
you.
know. It's just we're in this boredom period. We've been here for a while, but I mean, we had a couple of scary moments, right? I mean, we had one in April with I guess the first conflict, April May, and then yeah, and then just what I was telling Danksy, the what I call the Blood Sunday, the August 5th, where everything completely dumped. But even after the bounce we had last week, this week is just kind of like muted, right? It's just flat. At least in crypto, right? Definitely stocks have recovered a little bit better, but even today, it's just one of those low volume. Just like not really exciting, nothing exciting really happening in the market, aside from some headlines like the apparently Apple is going to allow users to pay with USDC. Have you guys seen that one?
What do you mean they're going to allow like through Apple Pay?
Yeah, through Apple Pay.
That just came out today, or
Yeah, that's pretty exciting. I was just reading about it,
that is
uh,
pretty cool.
which is fairly positive. Then we also had some other good news for crypto, like Sol stable coins are at all time highs. I believe up 1 billion
Nice.
in the last 3 weeks. And I guess they say part of it is because of the PayPal stable coin, but also I think Tether printed a bunch of USDT and etc. And all these things are moving to the BCS chain, right? So there's some positive headlines for crypto. What are your thoughts? How do you see the market here? Because obviously we discussed this last week, but there's about what 5 weeks for the next Fed meeting, 5 6 weeks, I think it is. So how do
Yeah.
you how do you how do you see it?
You want me to go? You want Danksy or
You
me?
got it, Brent.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, same kind of thing that we were talking about last week. I do think that Bitcoin ETH Sol will chop out here probably through this week, maybe even through this next week as well, over the next 3 to 10 days, and likely make a move higher, back into, for at least for Bitcoin, back into the 60s. From there, we'll see if we get like a lower high, and then possibly a move lower. Um, sorry, someone sent me a text. Possibly a move lower into the 40s. I can kind of show you what that looks like on my chart later, but into the 40s, kind of like something I've seen Ansem, I think, recently. That's kind of his prediction that we will move down into the 40s and maybe not bottom until later on in the year, maybe November.
Mhm.
But I think in the short term, though, I'm talking in the next 1 to 2 weeks, what the charts are showing me is that we're kind of chopping at this consolidation or correction low, and very likely the next bigger move, 5% plus, will be to the upside. From there, like I said, we'll see if it's going to be a lower high, back towards the higher 60s. We peter out there and then make a move lower, which I could definitely see, or if this move up that I think is coming is strong and is very impulsive and just plows right through 73K. At that point, we know the bottom's in, and whatever. So yeah, to conclude what I just said, it's just that I do think we get a move up in the next couple of weeks. It just depends on how strong that move is, whether we keep going or we move lower in the midterm.
Do you think that's part of the natural, you know, kind of like trade range that we've seen since March, or is there something specifically that you kind of like attribute to kind of like the next, uh, you know, jump here in price short term? Is there something specific that you're looking at, or is just like natural kind of
As far
like,
as like fundamentally and stuff, it's tough. I
yeah.
mean, like I said, there's a bunch of potential positive catalysts that are already there. I think just like the institution, the fact that how involved the institutions are in general. I mean, a lot of people don't like that. Whatever decentralization, I get it, but just
Yeah.
how involved they are with Bitcoin, the ETFs, just how bullish that is in general. And a lot of people, talking about Sol versus ETH right now, are just completely discounting, what BlackRock is doing with
Mhm.
Ethereum and stuff like that, um, with DeFi and all that, uh, and stuff like that, where that is all positive catalysts and stuff like that. But for me, chart wise, just looking at past corrective consolidations, I mean, that's not a log chart, right? So it kind of looks a little bit different. But if you see
No, you
in
wanna share your screen?
yeah,
You can.
sure.
Yeah.
Just give me 1 second here, guys. Just give me like 10 seconds here to get this started. 1 second.
All good.
Yeah, we spoke about this last week as well. The ETH versus Sol situations. Look like Sol's been um, performing well, right? But we haven't really seen any updates on the ETH side on developments.
I
I
mean,
don't know. I feel
yeah,
like
it
the
has definitely underperformed, so it has to catch up fairly quickly here if see some sort of bounce. I know that Bren had posted on his Telegram group.
Sorry, guys. I'm
The
going to present right now. Give me two
Yeah, go
seconds.
ahead.
All right, share screen. Let me make sure. Okay, I'm good to go. I'm good to go. Let's do Bitcoin. Yeah, perfect. All right, so um, I had this drawn out. Let me erase a few things. So right now, so far, this is in a corrective consolidation, meaning a correction for those of you who don't know is a cool off period or a kind of pullback period before an asset continues to like the trend, if you want to call it. I don't really use that, but in this case, to the upside. If you look in April to September 2023, same kind of thing. Bitcoin made a high, came down, kind of held this range, consolidated, and then moved higher. Ultimately, my thesis is we're looking just at a not even a bigger version, just kind of the same around a months wise, a time range wise, same kind of corrective consolidation as this one, and that eventually in the next few months we will move higher. So to answer your question a second ago, there is just a bunch of positive catalysts that are could potentially be coming and that are already there. But for me, my biggest edge and kind of what I focus more on is the chart. A lot of times, in any kind of chart analysis, the price actually the narrative actually follows price. A lot of times you'll see bottoms and tops form before any major narrative even comes. Obviously, every time's different, but to kind of answer your question for Loco, I do focus more so on the charts, and that's what the charts are telling me. And a bunch of positive catalysts could push us there at the same time.
Yeah, no, definitely. I was looking at your ETH BTC chart. I think it was yesterday you posted on your group. And it just looks like ETH has almost bottom. But I'm curious to hear what your thoughts are on it. I've heard that a lot of people are saying that Bitcoin dominance will continue rising here until the end of the year, and once perhaps we cross the all-time highs 70,000 level, then we start seeing Ethereum and alts really outperform. But until then, I just don't see things changing. How are you seeing it?
Yeah. So for me, it's really timing in general. Just time is like the least predictable thing in markets I've found. One chart setup, for example, that's what I look mostly at. In one time in certain conditions in one period of time could take 3 weeks to play out, and the same one could take 4 months to play out, depending on a bunch of other variables. But I would say that Bitcoin dominance could continue in the short term. I definitely could see that scenario where we go to 100K and then alts roll over, or that's what everybody's expecting, but oftentimes we see the market kind of do the opposite of what most people are expecting. So I wouldn't be surprised if whether on this next run, whether ETH just starts to lead from the very beginning or Bitcoin may, go up in the very short term. For me, it's not too important. I think in the midterm, I'm talking 6 months to a year, we will see ETH Bitcoin bottom out here, just based on a number of things. First of all, the chart and to me, okay, so since 2020, ETH versus Bitcoin appreciated like 7x, whatever this was, 6x, meaning if you would have sold all your Bitcoin for ETH back then, you would now have 6 times more Bitcoin at the top in 2021. We've been pulling back, correcting since then, and to me, this is an obvious correction. It's been coming down, but it's been chopping down slowly. And then based on the chart right here, that eventually we will move back to the upside, and ETH Bitcoin will do something similar to what we saw in 2020, maybe not as fast. And to me, the thesis behind that is that I do think ETH the platform, I'm talking in the next 10 years, is going to be worth more than Bitcoin, the digital gold. Both are going to be worth a lot. But for example, just like this, like I said, the stuff that BlackRock has planned for ETH and how to put real world assets, like that's going to bring trillions of dollars to the blockchains, right? And ETH, I still think is going to get most of the chunk of that. So with that happening over the next few years, I do think ETH against Bitcoin is going to go up against Bitcoin, and eventually we'll flip it in market cap. But same kind of thing. Who knows if that happens right now in the next few months, or it takes another year for this to kind of play out. I would say, if I had to guess, in the next few months, this is probably it. This is probably the bottom here, and very likely ETH starts to move up against Bitcoin.
Yeah, I mean, we are all hoping that that's the case, because without Ethereum doing well, to be honest, I don't really see a major altcoin season happening. When you think about the largest protocols that actually built on Ethereum chain, whether it's like you know um, s- built on top of Ethereum or L2s, etc. Right, and so, you definitely want to see Ethereum outperform Bitcoin here. Otherwise, I don't know. Obviously, Solana is doing well, but we definitely need to see Ethereum really start doing things here. So hopefully that changes quickly here. Dancy, are you looking at anything else on the macro side of things or crypto, or should we just kind of like get into what everyone loves to, which is like meme coins, etc., that are happening here?
Now we can hit meme coins. I'm pretty bullish. Basically, you're saying that ETH and BTC market caps will be the same. Is that what you're saying?
I think ETH's
In
going
the
to surpass it, and maybe they go back and forth for a little bit, but I think overall in the next 10 years, ETH will surpass it. Maybe even Solana or another L1 might as well, because again, just like the platform where a bunch of real world assets are games, NFTs, whatever, meme coins, crypto coins trading on top of it, ultimately I think will be worth more than Bitcoin, the digital gold.
right, you just
Um,
do so much more with the ETH and Solana
Yeah, and
sitting
again,
right
that
there.
might take a long time to
Currently.
play out. Maybe ultimately it might take another 5 years. It might be in this next run in 6 months. It's just really hard to tell, hard to know.
Yeah,
Very
I mean
bullish.
when you think about it, right? Like gold. What's the market cap of gold? Can you guys have it handy there? I mean, like
I don't know right now. I know it has been moving up actually, which has obviously
yeah,
it's going to make. Let's see.
I think it was 16, 17 times larger than Bitcoin, right? And so if you consider Bitcoin
Thirteen
similar,
to
like a
20 trillion.
okay, yeah. So in Bitcoin market cap is close to 2 trillion right now. Is that the number,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right?
Does this count out for the gold that's like missing in the ocean?
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, it's like the. So what'd you say it was? 13 trillion,
13 to 20.
13 to
Okay,
20. I
yeah,
think there is like a maybe it's based on like the paper gold. That's kind of what the market cap is based off of. I think I don't know though. It's really complicated
It's
the whole
it's
gold.
it's above ground gold reserve, so nothing
Yeah,
in the ground
yeah,
and nothing lost. I'm assuming, and then no extraterrestrial gold reserves.
yeah. So then,
extraterrestrial
if
gold.
I mean, if you think about Bitcoin, technically, I mean, part of the supply will never really be available, right? Whether it's like
Yeah,
Satoshi's bag, which I believe is like how much Bitcoin does he own? Like a million Bitcoin,
yeah,
something like
million,
that. 2 million, something like that. Yeah,
million, I think.
yeah. And then there's a second holder, and then BlackRock and Fidelity are catching up, right? So there's just as you
Michael
mentioned, Brent.
Saylor has a
Michael
lot.
Saylor is coming up. Yeah, there's a bunch of institutions really coming up with with owning this, and I doubt they will ever or they will sell in decades. So yeah, I think the supply with the market cap of Bitcoin will be capped. I don't know to how big, but if gold is 16 to 20 trillion and Bitcoin is at two, maybe 10x's, right, in the next decade. Um, in terms of market cap. Whereas I see Ethereum, Solana, and other protocols really being the next phase of technology, right? And that includes everything, includes AI, DeFi, and everything around it, right? So I could definitely see that happening, Brand.
Mhm.
Not sure it's gonna happen too fast, because there's just so many protocols and not enough adoption. Whereas Bitcoin is kind of like already seen as the number one crypto, and it feels like people are gonna buy Bitcoin first. But I would definitely see a world where these technologies start to become the next, you know, magnificent seven or whatever when it comes to crypto and achieve multi-trillion market caps for sure.
Yeah, I think it's the same kind of thing with price moves with technology. Like I'm not a tech guy at all. It's just from what I've noticed over the years, just learning from smart people that like it's the same kind of thing. A lot of it happens all at once. Just like impulses in price movements, usually there's a lot of chop for a lot of times, then all of a sudden price, comes out of that correction or that bottom. Same kind of thing with technology. There hasn't been anything major tech wise on Ethereum or anything for a while until there is. Like all of a sudden there'll be some kind of crazy that's usually how it works. Something will come out of nowhere, uh, you know, or
Mhm.
very few people know about, whether that be a game or just another DeFi app that BlackRock comes or something. So I do agree with that, but I do think eventually that'll change, and all of a sudden it'll be like, wow, look at all this technology being built all at once.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm bullish on Ethereum. The devs are still working on the chain itself, and there's just still people building. Same with Solana. I think it's the same kind of thing we touched on last week, where these chains are built and optimized for different things, just at their core. Ethereum
Hmm.
more like security, decentralization, which is good for the DeFi apps that are going to have billions of dollars in TVL, and then something quicker like meme coins, games, other stuff might be more suited for Solana.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, there looks like there's a couple of other headlines. I don't know if you guys have seen the Coinbase, I guess, kind of like teasing the CVBTC, which is kind of like a version of Grad Bitcoin. I don't know if that's going to make
Mhm.
things easier, or if it does make any difference at all. Have you guys seen that?
No, I haven't. Would you say it's a wrapped
Yeah, I
Bitcoin on
saw it
Yeah, it's
last
like
Ethereum?
night.
a,
I mean, you can
yeah.
trade wrapped BTC on ETH. I'm not sure. I
Yeah,
mean, I
I know
think
you've been able
anything
to do that for a
Coinbase
while.
does is by the book. So, I mean, it's just easy liquidity for people onboarding to Web3. So I think it could be
And
good.
fees for Coinbase, right? Which is what they're looking for at the end of the day. Yeah. Um, yeah, and then we have, I mean, we really have a bunch of other news, but they're not really affecting price, right? And this is kind of like improvements, whether it's gaming, whether it's DeFi. But you know, people seems to be waiting to major headlines that are going to affect the price. At least we have institutions like loaning up Bitcoin and not selling much. Although we have Mt. Gox apparently ready to move. I think I was reading uh, they were ready to move about 2 billion worth of Bitcoin. I don't know what that really means. Hopefully, it's not a sale, but they are they've been one of the largest holders of Bitcoin
They're
for over a
distributing the
decade.
Bitcoin, right? They're not distributing that in USD. I know they did USD payments before, but that
Yeah,
Bitcoin itself is being distributed, correct?
correct. Yes, and whatever the holders do, we don't know.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm sure
I
it'll be a
imagine
mix
some
of
will
both.
sell.
There is a lot of like OG Bitcoin people in there. If you think about it, there's a mix of people who've been in Bitcoin for a while. Those people are going to want to hold, and then there's probably a lot of people who haven't been involved in crypto since they got like a bad taste in their mouth or whatever. But
Yeah.
if I had to guess, I don't know if we do get like if we do get like another bullish period. I don't think that Mount Gox volume is really going to make a huge difference again because everyone's kind of expecting it as well. So we'll see what
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah. No, for sure. All right. Well, let's get to more fun things. I mean, you guys were talking about poly market. I mean, we can discuss Polidify stuff. We can go directly into meme coins. I don't think there's enough action in altcoins to really make it a interesting section today, unless you, Bren or Denksy, have been looking at some altcoins here. I
I would just
Yeah,
say there's like a few things that are undervalued as far as higher cap stuff. I would say Doge. I know people don't talk about it; they're focused on other memes, and it's
yeah.
rightfully so. It's one of the like most other coins who haven't really done anything this cycle. But I
Mhm.
do think for one, me personally, without going too much into it, I do think this next run up, whether it be now or the end of the year, whatever, we do start to see kind of the older alts start to run as
Yeah.
well, kind of everything running at once, kind of how we saw back in the day. 2020, 2021, Doge being one of them. I think we're kind of due for something from Elon with Doge. But either way, just it's been consolidating, in this kind of coming out of this corrective channel as well for almost like 2 years now, whatever this is. I do
Hmm.
think very good chance in the next 6 months, whatever, it probably runs higher. And then stuff like Chainlink, Polkadot gets memed a lot, but I do think it's undervalued at these prices. Stuff like that is what I'd be focusing on in those market caps.
What do you have a thesis about or around the, I guess, the older cycle altcoins, and if there's a bull thesis or not? Because obviously there's a ton of speculation, and a lot of people really kind of like saying that older coins that have already dipped like 70 to 80% are likely not going to perform as well as newer tokens that also dipped about 60 to 70% from December to now. But they have that kind of like new technology attention that the other don't have. Like, for instance, if you compare like Polkadot, with Say or Sui, right? Sui has a bunch of unlocks coming up, and Say as well. So if you think about FDB versus market cap, maybe it doesn't make sense because just gonna get dumped on tokens. But at the same time, is new technology versus old technology. Do you have a thesis around that, or do you still believe that certain tokens and chains that have gotten enough attention and users will still do well during this cycle, like the polka dots of the world and etc.
So, I mean, if you look at cycles of the past, this is why this one's a little bit different in a lot of ways. But specifically, like most cycles will have a period where Bitcoin, ETH, and Sol wasn't really, I guess, around a little bit last cycle, but the majors will run. Then you'll have everything else kind of run, and then whatever kind of what it's turned into after 2021 is there's bull markets everywhere, right? Like there's been a bull market in memes for on and off for years, even before majors started moving up. So I think a lot of crypto is cyclical, right?
Uh,
Over time, over the next 5 years, what would I say some of the newer memes perform better than a lot of the older DeFi stuff? It's hard to say, but I think
yeah,
a lot of different stuff has their times in different cycles, right? I think everything's cyclical, whether it's the meme coin cycles, which are a few months long, or the bigger Bitcoin bull markets, which are years long. I think
yeah,
that's the hardest thing for a lot of people to conceptualize, and that takes time to kind of see these things. But what I
yeah,
would say is that I do think this cycle is different in the sense that we had Bitcoin, ETH, and Sol move up, right, and then kind of everything concentrated in one and maybe two or three other like smaller things in one niche, which is meme coins. Right now, I
yeah,
do think meme coins are going to continue to run, but I do think eventually, like every other cycle, we will have a time where everything kind of runs together. Newer capitals coming in. Maybe it's not as big as 2021, but everything, newer capitals coming in, everything kind of runs together. I think that's what we're missing in this cycle, and I do think that possibly comes after Bitcoin hits 100K here. And just to kind of answer your question, though, without going on too long of a rant, is
hmm,
that everything's cyclical, right? I do think over time it's hard to say whether a lot of these older memes or these newer memes and whatever are going to perform well over the next 5 years versus some of the DeFi stuff.
yeah.
But I think that memes had their good time over the last 6 months or so and will continue to. But then also these DeFi coins, a lot of these older coins will likely have a run here in the next year as well, I think.
Yeah, no, I believe that a lot of people have learned the lesson, right? And they know that a bunch of these tokens, whether it's L1s or other protocols, are heavily, you know, manipulated by VCs, right? And then they had all the advantages when it came to early investing and launch versus your traditional retail investor. But then I'm looking at the top 100 here on CoinMarketCap. I don't know, you can pull it up, Denksy or Bren, and just looking at performance of the last 7 days. Tokens like XRP, Polkadot, Stellar,
Mm-hmm.
they're not really doing very well. I mean, I mean, obviously everything is down, right? But when you compare what's up versus down in the last, let's call it 7 days. I mean, Sui had the news, which is positive. Then you have Helium, which is actually building a kick-ass product, HND, with their mobile product, etc. In real life, you have Aptos, Toncoin, Celestia, even coming up a little bit, even though they took a massive dip. What I'm looking at is the better performer of the top 100, excluding meme coins, is normally newer tokens
Mm-hmm.
versus older tokens. So that's where I struggle, and maybe not that I don't agree with certain ones that you mentioned, but I struggle to see older protocols with less attention that I already have gone through multiple cycles and multiple up and downs to really make a significant run this time around.
Yeah, and I think I should include real quickly that like I don't think everything is going to run. I do think there's a lot of stuff that their narratives are just dead, and
Mm,
stuff like that, and the technology really doesn't have like a product market fit anymore or whatever. But
yeah.
another one you kind of mentioned right now too, XRP. I'm not a huge XRP guy fundamentally. Kind of touch what I just said. Like I don't. I think what XRP was trying to do with remittances and stuff, stable coins were already doing. But with that being said, price wise and just as a trade, I do think XRP, for example, or be one of them that will have a run, maybe to all time highs, just as a result of the whole market just kind of being hot and it not really having a run yet. So different stuff like that, I think, are going to have a run, not at meme coins' expense necessarily, but just because the whole market is so going to be so strong, in my opinion, at some point.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, and look, there's it's interesting, right? Because you're seeing like majors kind of like top, as you mentioned, and then certain tokens, mostly meme coins, have been outperforming. I mean, one that I'm very happy about that we actually kind of like entered during the blood Sunday that I call is Giga. I don't know if you followed that one, but it just hit all time highs. And it's one of those tokens that doesn't have a lot of holders compared to market cap. I think market cap is close to 220 million, something like that. It just hit this morning with, I believe, 12 to 13,000 holders, which, goes to tell you multiple things that perhaps is, you know, just like most tokens that make it to billions, they're heavily kind of like controlled by us, a minority of individuals. But at the same time, they have what they call that cult mentality that really has, this just like crazy beliefs that things can go, 10, 20, 30x, and not even considered like that being, or even like profit taking, right? Which I know there's not really a smart strategy, but you just have those tokens, right? Where most other tokens and meme coins have been really not doing well, especially Solana meme coins, during the last week or so. So I don't know if you're seeing specific areas of the market, whether it's meme coins or alts, here outperforming that you would think they will do well. But for me, one big call out was Giga, here in the last week, which is, I guess, one of the only ones that have been able to do all time highs while everything else is dumping.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree with Giga. I think it's the same kind of thing with what you're saying, where people are willing to hold. It's just, a lot of people, a lot of these meme coins, like 95% plus of them are like people are trying to, make more soul. But
Yeah.
there is those people where, like you said, where I saw the same thing with Mog, and other
Mhm.
coins where, they really had the vision of like hundreds of millions, $1 billion from, from the beginning or whatever. So Giga, same kind of thing. I see people change their PFP, all that, and that's why it is going up, and it is nice to be in the outliers that go up, while kind of everything else is correcting or going down. What I will say is, yeah, there definitely, it's best to be in Giga like down here, right? Ideally before it's
Yeah,
going up. I would say right now, don't necessarily, definitely look for corrections if you really do want to get into something like Giga. But
for
there's
sure.
so many different coins right now that are in correction still or going sideways, that
Hmm.
you can focus on now while hype is low, so you can catch something like a Giga type move when the market does recover.
Are you showing
Yeah.
the Giga chart? Are you
Yeah.
showing?
No. Oh,
Oh,
you are.
well, I'm
Okay.
it. Okay, I'm sharing. I am on the Giga chart, but I might only be sharing one tab. Do you not? You guys not see it?
We just see Doge. So if you
Oh, my
wanna,
bad. Hold on.
yeah,
Uh, yeah. Let me reshare my screen. Hold on.
And by the way, for everyone listening, we just crossed 210 active listeners. Make sure you follow Bren Trades. I think it's at Bren Trades on Twitter. Did you get your Twitter
Yeah.
back
So
yet? Yeah.
my Twitter's currently locked. It's not banned or anything. I didn't break TOS, but it just got locked one day when I was using it. I'm working on
Yeah.
getting that back. It should be back soon. But yeah, when I'm back on there, I'll be active. For now, if you have any questions, you want to just chop it up, shoot me a DM on Telegram. That's where I'm most active. But yeah, shoot me a follow on Twitter too. I'll be back on there at some point.
Perfect. You heard him. We are doing this show Wednesdays, 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. So make sure you tune in. It's going to be, looks like more of a regular show coming up, where we try to chop most of the macro, and we definitely get into Bitcoin and crypto and meme coins, which is the fun. But yeah, if you want to pull up the chart, otherwise, just wanted to kind of like chat through the conversation after this. That I don't know if you guys were listening to the Trump Elon, but I think there's a lot of topics that we can discuss and how meme coins perform afterwards. But no, please go ahead, Brent. You go first.
Yeah, no, I don't think I was even. Yeah, the I was just saying. You obviously want to get into Giga, something like down here. Not necessarily chase it while it's up here. You can definitely look for another correction like this if you get it. But my whole point was just, there's a lot of coins out there in good corrections that will do something like this when the market does recover that you can kind of average into right now.
Yeah. Danksy, I saw Nero had a significant pullback today. What do you make of it?
I mean it's still in the channel. We also got some commenters. They want to look at Giga. We looked at Michi, Popcat, and Moo Moo, and SEF most likely. Uh, but yeah, I'm still a Nero. I think I'm pretty bullish until it hits a certain mark, probably 60,000 ETH market cap. We talked
Oh,
about
you,
this on
you
the
have it
Monday.
on ETH. Okay.
Yeah, I have it on the ETH market cap. Just a different way to view it. I think that's kind of my go-to now. Um, but yeah, still pretty bullish on Nero. Just
Yeah, I know
I
everyone
think it's
was
just
saying
a
was
channel
was
right
calling
now.
for 1 billion, but normally you see these tokens get to like 2 to 300 million, and then they have a significant pullback. I know that Bren is right now kind of like doing the chart pattern here, so um, I think I don't know. Do you think we see more upside before we see more downside? I just think it's gonna keep correcting just a little bit. It just had a massive run.
I mean, yeah, we're looking at two. This is arguably the third low. Usually, these corrective channels have 3 to 4 lows before they go up. But I mean, yeah, I would like usually with these bigger corrections, you see some consolidation too for a few days up to like a week. So that's probably what I'd be looking for here. Maybe as chop into like next week. That'd be really bullish. But I do think most of the downside is done on here due to this corrective channel. And then just Nero. Nero's just different in just a few sense, like the team behind it. Not even the team behind it, but just who they have kind of promoting it or whatever. Like I've seen actually like big, like famous people like Luke Belmar, other people like kind of the Doge millionaire, the slum Doge millionaire,
Really?
stuff like that, where they have like big names behind it, like that. Not only just the names themselves, but that just shows me that they're serious and capable of taking it to something higher market cap. So we'll see what happens. But chart wise, I do think Nero probably most of the downside is behind us.
So it's like the bread of Ethereum, like kind of like the new bread. Because those names you mentioned,
In
they were
certain
also
ways,
behind
yeah.
bread.
There's
Yeah,
there's similarities, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
if I was gonna bet, it's probably like 80% more downside and 20% upside. Like
Yeah. I mean, it
in
could
the
come down a
next,
bit more here. I just think most of the downside is done.
right? I mean, that's just the meme coin chart, right? It just slowly like bleeds out, and then you get a green candle or like a massive god candle, and everyone's chasing it. So
Yeah, big corrections and then really quick moves up a lot of times. That's where you got to
yeah.
take profits on the way up.
So Brent, what do you think of this take? And a lot of members in our Discord were saying that Solana meme coins have, obviously there's a bunch of dilution, right? Because there's just like you see like thousands and tens of thousands of tokens being created every day. And I know that Pump the Fund, got a ton of FUD in the last couple of
Mhm.
days because they literally just, I believe they had 7 times the revenue than Ethereum. I think they
Yeah.
had 4 or 5 million or something like that, something crazy. And that
Mhm.
kind of like takes me back to what happened during the Trump Elon spaces. I don't know if you were able to listen. I think it was a shit show, but there were a bunch of trades, a bunch of like bets on Polymarket, and then people trying to trade almost everything that came out of Pump the Fund, which with nothing really exciting really coming out, right?
Mhm.
Were you in the trenches those days, or were you looking at were you kind of like following closely? Because nothing about crypto was really mentioned on that spaces, which is kind of
So
like what
yeah, I mean,
everyone's getting
I
right now.
listened to a little bit of it, like at the beginning, and then someone called me, so I listened to towards the end. But I must say, you asked really this guy for Loco asked great questions. I must say, this is actually
Thanks.
something a few things you're asking about stuff that I've been thinking a lot about lately, and actually just made posts about in Telegram. But I think a lot of things just people fighting pump fund and stuff like that. A lot of the arguments are valid. Obviously, more coins in a sense does make more quote unquote saturation. But I think it goes back to I actually made a post about that I think yesterday or maybe today. I don't know. The days blur together. But
Right.
the is that a lot of it doesn't matter. I've been trading crypto in different markets for like 8 going on 9 years now, and just like every bear market I see, lived through. People blame something, for that the conditions being bad.
Mhm.
And a lot of it are valid points. But it's just they're not really realizing that whether it's pump fund or something else, there's going to be bearish parts of the cycle. It just goes back to what we talked about earlier that there is cycles in crypto, whatever stocks, anything. Nothing goes up or down forever.
Yeah.
So it's just more so, I don't think that pump funds killed Solana by any means. I don't even think pump funds necessarily like to blame for the conditions being crap. The
Yeah.
conditions are crappy because Solana, ETH, and Bitcoin have been consolidating and not much is happening, which then drives the meme coin market. Same kind of thing. We see these different cycles all the time. So I mean, we're seeing this in the sneaker market right now. I know a lot of you guys like shoes, maybe not, but like the sneaker market's been coming down a lot, and I see people starting to blame Nike and all these different things. Why they're valid arguments. The
Hmm.
sneaker market is gonna be crappy sometimes, just the way it is. So I would
Yeah.
say that yeah, maybe pump fund is creating more saturation, but when conditions improve, I don't think pump fund Solana and everything's gonna be crazy just the same.
Yeah.
And people just kind of like to find things to blame for conditions being crappy and just the way it is.
Yeah, I mean, when people and consumers have less discretionary income, you're gonna see, this market suffer. I mean, like even the watch market. I don't know if you follow the kind of like the watch market, the luxury watch market,
Yeah,
but it also has, you know, uh, not tanked, but it definitely has come down
yeah,
significantly since
50, 60%
2021.
on a lot of the
Yeah,
big
yeah.
watches.
So it's just what you mentioned is the natural, kind of like the natural cycle, right? It just happens.
Mhm.
And I believe when we see more liquidity is when these things will come up again, right? With
Yeah,
discretionary income, more liquidity, people buy into things that they believe they can appreciate because they are scarce in nature, right? So that
yeah.
happens with like unique and exclusive like sneakers. The same for watches. But I guess so. I appreciate you touching on that point. I guess what's very interesting is last cycle, or I guess last year, people were blaming Blur for the NFT debacle, right? For the NFTs
Yeah.
tanking. Now things are not as beautiful because Pump the Fund is about 6, 7 months old,
Hmm.
and they're starting to blame Pump the Fund for meme coins doing bad. But the problem, and I will always say, is not really like these platforms. I would say Pump the Fund has been a completely, to me, I would say is an incredible product and development for the market, right?
Yeah.
Because you
Yeah.
allow people to speculate and bring liquidity to protocols that, Solana without Pump That Fund, and I'm not saying that it wouldn't do well, it probably would have done much less well without that protocol, right? Just because so much liquidity kind of like uh, flew into Solana just because of Pump That Fund, right? And meme coins.
Yeah, I would say
Um,
it's not
yeah.
ideal. Like it doesn't real quickly. Like it doesn't like. I'd say it's not. It doesn't help bearish conditions, right? It's definitely not ideal. It definitely sucks liquidity, like you said, but it's not the reason for the condition. Like the bear market probably would have happened in
Yeah.
NFTs regardless,
Yeah.
because demand eventually, what demand eventually flutters, and it's just the way it works, right? Eventually, yeah. So, I think it doesn't help by any means. It's a valid concern, but it's not the reason why bear markets are happening, type of thing.
Yeah, and I see this as a parallel of Blur because Blur incentivized farmers to really kind of like, put pressure on the floor, right? That's how
Yeah.
they earn points towards the airdrop. Pump That Fund, kind of like what you're doing is that you can launch a free token or free meme coin, and I guess there's not really kind of like an incentive, but at the same time, uh, well, there is, right? Like when there's a new token that attracts attention, people pull liquidity from older tokens, right? And so there's that dilution aspect to
Yeah.
things, but at
Yeah.
the same time, that's also a responsibility, or that's also the holders of previous meme coins in those communities to really keep that liquidity within that project, right? Like if you launch a project today and you get a ton of attention, that's fine. If you're moving capital from side to side, that's not the protocol or the platform issue. Is the holders looking for, for the new shiny thing, right? I guess in NFTs was a little bit different because there were not as many projects as meme coins are right now, but you would still see liquidity move from project to project. In that case was farmers. In this case, whether it's like cabal whales or whatever, you're just seeing a ton of dilution in players getting killed uh, just because there's so many. Whereas there's no new liquidity. So maybe when things get better here in the next few months, and Dengsi, I want to get your thoughts on this. Maybe things change, but I just don't see a world where you change from the fund and then meme coins go up only again, just because there's just too many and not enough liquidity to really, kind of like bring all these bring all these boats up again and kind of like do well. Want to get both of your guys' thoughts before we move to the next topic.
I want to hear what Danksy. Let's. Danksy hasn't talked in a second. I want to hear what he has to say.
Uh, I think Blur and Pump.Fun are kind of similar in the fact that they they kind of expedited the process, right? Blur made it super easy, high liquidity trade NFTs, and I mean NFT the bear market happened for other reasons, right? And Blur just really allowed it to happen. Pump.Fun on the other hand, people are gonna be making meme coins. People were making meme coins before Pump.Fun created the platform, right? So they allowed
Mhm.
everyone to they allowed everyone to make a meme coin, and even with the newest update where you don't have to pay the fee to make it, they like take the fee out of the bonding curve. Um, you see a lot more meme coins being made, right? And I think it's just a different market right now where before you could buy a lot of meme coins and still make money, but now you kind of have to be more picky just because people understand the game, people understand that people will cheat, people understand that like it is kind of PvP on meme coins right now. So
Did
I think
they
a lot
did they
people are a lot more
actually
cautious.
did they actually ban India from creating meme coins or something like that? I saw on the timeline. That's pretty
Maybe I think
wild.
I heard that too, but like still, it's free to make a meme coin on
Yeah.
Pump.Fun. Like you just need the like you just need to make it. Like you just need to sit there on the computer with a script or whatever and just make meme coins.
Yeah.
The hardest part is probably making the Twitter account at this point.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
posted this stat yesterday or a couple days ago. 0.12% of all meme coins make it to Radium from Pump.Fun.
And then most of them, when they get to Radium, they just fully dump.
Yep.
So yeah.
So like I don't know. I don't know what people are doing on Pump.Fun. I think people are trading a lot on Pump.Fun on their bonding curve. Um, but to see like even a million, 2 million, it's pretty surprising.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, look, and the reason why I brought this up is because maybe when you make it more difficult, you're actually helping degens, right? Because I mean, like, look at meme coins on Ethereum, right? Like, there's less, right? And therefore, people obviously there's gas fees, etc., and it's more difficult to launch this. But you're seeing that they hold better too. Right? There's less volume, but they also hold their market cap better, and so maybe if you make it more difficult for degens to create this pump and dumps and move liquidity from one to the other, that's kind of like a better way to really keep these tokens afloat. I don't know if that's something that we all have to learn, or it's the natural course of things. But yeah, seems that Ethereum meme coins, Mog is doing well. Nero is definitely holding up. There's a bunch of other ones that are definitely performing better than Solana meme coins, at least in the last week or so.
Maybe. I mean, what's the differentiation between Nero versus Popcat versus Whiff?
Yeah, I think there's coins doing well on all on both chains. Maybe just more real recently the last few weeks on ETH.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I mean,
That's
yeah, I
like
don't think
that's like
this.
saying
Go ahead.
that's like saying like people can't buy hamburger buns and hamburgers and sell hamburgers on the street because there's too many
Yeah,
hamburger sellers, right? It's a hard business to sell hamburgers on the street. No one's gonna be McDonald's,
yeah,
right? But you can't just like block the sale of hamburgers.
yeah. And I mean, yeah, there is a lot of coins, and there is, it is a distraction. I get that, and 100% that's valid. But a lot of the money, a lot like you said, only 0.12 they actually go to radium. So a lot of that money is getting into these coins and exiting really quick. This money's not being destroyed by any means. It's just going to quote unquote smarter, smarter hands or whatever. Just people who are making these coins. So it's just really all these people trading those coins are just enriching the people who are creating the coins over and over again. A lot of them are just serial people in that market cap, 10,000 market cap. They're just farming all day. You're just really enriching those people at the end of the day, which a lot of those people probably do put those money in the bigger market cap coins. So again, in these kind of market conditions, it's definitely not a good thing. It does suck liquidity out. But when there is just like good conditions and there's so much liquidity just sloshing around anyway, I don't think it's really going to make that much of a difference. And I still think the bigger, higher market cap coins, the good projects that are still alive, will still do well, despite there being like a billion coins or whatever in
Hmm.
circulation.
So, Bren, let's say that come September, the Fed cut rates. We start seeing the money printer here
Mm-hmm.
go wild again. Liquidity flows into crypto. Obviously, Bitcoin perhaps reclaims all-time highs. We don't know when that happens.
Yeah.
Let's say that the conditions are good for crypto. Do you
Uh-huh.
think we see a pivot of liquidity into altcoins and utility kind of like projects, or do you still see meme coins being the leading category for the foreseeable future?
Great. Those are two or three great questions. So as far as the Fed stuff goes, it's tough. It's really tough because in the past, like since 1950 or whatever, I forgot what the exact stat is, but pretty much every single recession, every single rate cut that was into a recession, there is another leg lower for risk assets. And risk assets at the time, the last major recession, 2008, was, crypto wasn't around, right? So we're talking the S&P 500, all that. They made a leg that was like anywhere from 15 to 50% lower after the first rate cut, and then eventually, as those rate cuts were whatever the market priced in, moving higher as the rate cuts kind of stopped, right? Now this time around, it's complicated. We've seen so many different um, so many different, like, this time is different things happen over the last few years. First time unprecedented things. I think what it's going to come down to, whether markets see some type of major correction over the next few years or we avoid that, is whether these rate cuts come with a major recession or some type of financial crisis. So if we start cutting rates and then all of a sudden some banks start to break again, or some other unforeseen crisis start to happen, then I could definitely see markets coming down again. But if these rate cuts happen and we do somehow get some kind of soft landing or whatever, and there's no kind of major, recession or anything like that, then maybe we avoid something like that, and markets just continue to chop higher with corrections in between, kind of how we've been getting this year. What I will say though is kind of like I said at the beginning of the stream, that whether that recessionary stuff, we have some type of crisis, I don't think it's looming in the next month or so. Anything can happen, obviously, but nothing seen in the next month or so. Like for Loco said, we don't have another FOMC for another month plus. So I do think in the short term, at least the stock market, S&P 500, we like we showed you earlier, is going to climb higher in the short term, and we will get another leg higher, likely in crypto as well by the end of the year, before we deal with any of that stuff. But, and then one more thing, that these rate cuts we need them to happen before we can start to move to money printing again, which
Yeah,
is ultimately, the most bullish conditions for assets. So
yeah. And I guess the second question: do you see the liquidity in the case it comes, right? I know there's the fact that we might just need, and I think I saw Rahul Paul and all these macroeconomists talk about it, that we would just have to adapt to live in a world with high debt levels and higher inflation, and it's just going to be part of what it is to kind of like adapt to the new economic transitions where you see the dollar losing purchasing value, et cetera, et cetera. But in the case that we still use the dollar as the number one kind of like backup currency of the world,
world reserve
and
currency, yeah.
right, reserve currency, and that floats into all risk assets. Let's say crypto is one of them. Do you see do you think there's anything else interesting that meme coins this cycle? Because I'm just looking at certain tokens um, there's a couple of ones that I'm looking at on AI that are doing well. They were doing well, and they don't have a ton of unlocks here coming up. But at the same time, it's like, do I just keep most of my portfolio in majors and then meme coins, or does it make sense to really look at these kind of like other categories like gaming and AI that are completely undervalued? If you consider that being undervalued, and that will have some relevance here this cycle too.
So the way I'm kind of playing it, definitely like I said, the few plays like XRP and Doge, the obvious ones, high market cap plays that are like haven't had a run yet, super undervalued but still strong communities and just like narratives in general. Stuff like that, I think are good buys. I think in DeFi, a lot of the older DeFi coins, Uniswap, a lot of stuff, just because of the narrative with BlackRock and what they're going to do, I do think will ignite like a lot of DeFi stuff, a lot of older stuff. And again, if we just get an overall market, we do go into a period eventually where everything kind of runs as well. That'll be strong for those existing coins. But I would say, particularly me, I'm a Doge, Chainlink, Polkadot, stuff like that. I'm starting to add a little bit to those because they're super undervalued in my eyes where they're at. And
Mhm.
then for me, I like gaming. I'm paying attention to the gaming stuff. There's not a lot of developments with games or anything. I think it's just going to take one really good game coming out of crypto gaming that people like to play, despite any of the economic stuff.
Yeah.
It's all it's going to take one or two games, and then the concept will just blow up. It's just kind of to touch on what you said in general that it's just there's nothing going on, a lot of stuff in the tech side, and then all of a sudden there's
Yeah.
everything going on. So who knows
Did
how long
you?
that's going to take or
Yeah.
what it's going to be, but it won't be like this forever, I think.
Okay. No. Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. Dengsi, I want to hear your thoughts, but before that, have you seen the Bren? Have you seen the release of I guess Play Off the Grid, their PlayStation game? Looks incredible. Have you seen it?
No, whoa, what's that?
Check it out because it's one of the I guess the leading games, and I believe it's on. I want to say it's on AVAX chain.
Way off the
But
grid.
yeah, of the grid. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I
So
did. I've seen this. Yeah, I have seen this.
so this was one of the hypest TGEs, or back in March or before that. But apparently, so what they're doing is they launched the game or on PlayStation, I believe, and a lot of people are already playing. They don't even know that the secondary market for the skins, for the maps, etc., for all of these items on the game are NFTs actually,
That's awesome.
and so. I this is something that I will be interested, come the market and things do well, um, you know, interested in investing in, right? Because if there's a way to invest in a game that is going to perform well on crypto, there's not really that many, and especially if you see these kind of like tokenomics and incentives being
Absolutely.
adopted
Like
by
absolutely.
minorities.
When there is some kind of gaming bull market, I think it's going to be insanely fun, and I think it might actually be one of the best chances where NFT like PFP projects might get another bull run is off the backs of some kind of gaming NFT
Yeah,
development. But
Janksy, you're
Yeah,
a big
it's
gamer.
ran by Gunzilla, so you can probably buy some of the assets right now.
Yeah, the Godzilla token. Yeah, I believe.
that's huge though. It's on PlayStation and everything. Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah, and apparently, yeah. So most people don't know that these are NFTs, but I just think there's such a large use case, and the game looks very good. Most games in Web3 were so bad. I don't know if you guys played the Axie Infinity or the sandbox games. I
Yeah,
just
yeah,
never
yeah.
really got to play those games. Thanksy, have you ever played any of the Web3 type of games before?
No, I was looking at some game before, but it wasn't that interesting.
I played
Like last
Decentraland for
week.
like 5 minutes, and I was just like, yeah, I'm good.
Actually, I found a game that was like they were building RuneScape on Web3
That's
for like
fire.
Okay.
dueling.
Yeah.
I was talking to another game that was like, you guys ever played Maple Story? They're
Of
making
course.
Maple Story on Web3, and they have like a couple
Wait,
hundred players every
didn't the
day.
Maple Story company itself, Maple Story, it is a
Yeah, they're on Avalanche, but I'm not sure how fast they're moving.
wait,
But
like Maple Story itself is on chain now, right?
I think they're trying to get on chain. I'm not sure how much they have done
Yeah.
so far, but I know a team that's trying to make Maple Story like a Maple Story variant on chain.
If RuneScape itself were to like make the on chain thing, that would get so much resurgence to it. But I've just heard a lot of gaming experts, people saying that it's probably going to be a game that's like Web3. It's like a good game, like a AAA style game or whatever, but it's coming like a crypto native game type thing. That's a really good game, not necessarily like Grand Theft Auto. Although
Mhm.
Grand Theft Auto is like hinting at some type of like economy in the Grand Theft Auto 6, so I wouldn't put anything past it if they like somehow have Ethereum on there or Solana or something. But who knows? It is
Yeah,
like
I think yeah, it has to be very almost like the implementation of NFTs and Web3, you know, economics. They have to be very subtle, right? Because we already know most of these influencers and gamers got a lot of heat for promoting Web3 games because everyone had a bad impression and bad idea of NFTs being a scam, right? And so
yeah.
I think it should be, the least that people know that these are NFTs, the better, because that's really what is going to happen, right? All tickets, IDs, passports, everything is going to be digital. And even though we don't call them NFTs, they're going to have a digital counterpart, to be able to trade it and store it in a safer way, right? So I'm not a big gamer. I know Denksy is, but I would play something like this, and especially if I know that there's a token I can participate in. There's some incentives outside of the game that I can also be aware of. So just an interesting kind of like headline I saw the other day. And then on AI, I live in the Bay Area, and every time I kind of like go through the Bay Bridge, I see a ton of like GPU and AI inference kind of like protocols. They
Hmm.
are not on blockchain, but I know that time is coming, right? Because some of these projects are accelerated and invested by NVIDIA. And I know there's going to be a lot of attention and demand for those projects. So I don't know if we are looking at AI or if you guys have kind of like dive into AI, whether it's crypto or not. But that's an area that I think is going to perform very well come the next, come the bull market. Which are we in a bull market? That's
I
really
think
the
we're in the
question,
middle.
right?
I think we're yeah. I would say we're in the
Yeah,
middle of a bull
yeah,
market, a correction in a bull market.
yeah,
I think it's just the model's kind of changed now, not like a 4 year cycle since we made the all time high before the halving, where we very
yeah,
well may be entering a phase where we don't have huge 80-90% crashes for a year and a half and possibly just see what we've seen now, where it's like a 20 or 30% correction for 6 months,
yeah.
stuff like that. But who knows? Again, if we get some type of major recession or financial crisis, we may get that 80% crash again.
Yeah, Jiangxi, you think we're in a bull market? Do you think this was just a sneak peek into what's to come in 2025, or do you think it's over and we're going back to pain, max pain?
I'm waiting for the euphoria phase still. That's my favorite phase of all the markets. But with that comes the crash. So I'm not sure whether or not that's good
The
over
banana
the
zone,
6 month chop.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, if we're going to enter a mass adoption at some point, we're not going to get perfect 70% corrections forever, right? But it's just
yeah,
impossible to time whether this is it, and I would say if this is it and we do just, we are to see mass adoption. We're already seeing adoption with the institutions, which is huge with Bitcoin. But if this really is it's kind of bullish that it's not obvious to me. It's kind of bullish that most people are still expecting some type of 80% crash, but we'll see what happens. Again, I think if a major
yeah.
80-90% crash does come, it's going to become because of some type of recession.
Yeah, no, that's a great point because I don't think we'll see another 80% crash on Bitcoin, but I definitely think we can see it across altcoins, right? So
Yeah.
it's just a world where just like meme coins and NFTs and altcoins and even stocks, when the market is bad, people float, most of the liquidity flows to the top, right? To the top projects. So I think if things get bad, Bitcoin will probably dip maybe like 30, 40, maximum, maybe 50% gets there, maybe even more. I don't think much more than that. But you see most of the newer projects that are not top 100 get obliterated or close to it. But the liquidity flows into Bitcoin, which will cause less damage overall. For the crypto industry. So looks like we are here at the top of our time. We've been chatting for an hour. If there's anything you guys want to discuss, let's do it. Otherwise, I guess one topic that we can discuss is, and we always like to kind of like speculate, is the poly market, kind of like the politified situation with the odds racing in favor of Kamala Harris, and potentially her choices for her administration if they were to win that are not looking very exciting for crypto. I don't know if you guys have seen some of the candidates that or the members that could be part of her cabinet and kind of like advisor team, but it looks that they are anti-crypto, which I don't know. Do you guys have any takes on that?
Can we look at some meme coins first? We got some comments.
Okay, go ahead.
There's
What do you
Giga.
want?
We looked at Giga, Michi, Popcat, and Moo, and SCF.
Okay,
I know you're a
yeah,
big
that's
fan of
right.
Michi. How's that going for you for Loco?
I'm holding, man, but I know that Michi's it's heavily dependent on Popcat, and Popcat is holding up very well, to be honest. It's holding up that I think it's a 0.55 around 500 and something million market cap, which I'm very impressed. I think it's performing better than with. Um, so I believe that that's going to be one of the top coins when the market kind of like flips. But Michi is just like, it's just, again, I love the community, strong cult, and people that are in it. I know that most of them are not looking to sell; they're looking to wait and be patient. But at the same time, I know it's not going to go anywhere as long as Popcat and Solana are at these levels. So just holding patiently. Uh, yeah, that's pretty much it with Michi. I don't know. What are you guys looking at?
Yeah, for me, I think meme coins are if it doesn't go, if it chops, that's kind of the best holding position, right? Because it's you don't expect it to just go constantly up. It's always got candles. It always catches people off. Um, so if it chops or goes slightly down, that's perfectly fine for me. So it just seems it shows strength in the holding period.
Yeah, yeah. It looks like it has a point. The point one is kind of like the support level for Michi. It has hit it like two times, and it looks like it might hit it like another time, maybe three times. So yeah, I'm looking to see what the next bounce really does for the token. Giga. Apparently, I was just talking to because I'm in a group with the Giga holders. The actual model, the guy behind Giga, the guy with the max the massive I guess chin, that guy actually endorsed the token on Instagram. So that's why the token went bonkers.
That's fire.
Yeah, so that's why it went above 220 million market cap, and it's one of the only tokens that has done all-time highs in the last
What did
week
he
or
post
so.
on Instagram? Like just a picture of the ticker or what?
I think it was a picture of himself in bed for some reason,
He made
and
like a
then
fresh post for it. Like he made a post
I
specifically
thought that guy
for.
and
was
then
fake.
no, no, no. He's an actual guy. He's
Right,
his
but it's like
Instagram is
photoshopped.
no, no. His Instagram is Berlin 1908 or something like that. I'll tell you what the Instagram handle is, but the guy actually exists. So it's not just like a fake meme.
But like,
It's an
was it
actual
actually on his
person.
Instagram though?
He was on Instagram. Yeah,
That's
I'm
crazy.
trying to find the source,
Yeah, no, that
but
is wild.
yeah,
Yeah, no, I Giga's one of them. Yeah, I don't have a position in, but definitely is like more cult like. I think Mishi, whether it breaks this low at 0.09 that you're talking about or it bottoms out here, is going to be really dependent on what the majors do after this next move up they're going to have. If it
yeah,
ends up petering out Bitcoin, ETH, and Sol, and we do move lower into the 40s for Bitcoin, I could see something like Mishi coming down again. And if it does make another low under 0.09, I will definitely be adding a lot because, like for Loco said, as long as the market holds up and doesn't completely collapse over the next 6 months, I do think Mishi will do very well. Based on the
yeah,
community, everything, pretty much everything about it, checks all the boxes for me.
yeah. Agreed. Janksy, any other meme coins that we or people are asking about? Is it Mumu you mentioned?
Popcat, Moo, and SCF.
SCF's one I
Uh
like for
yeah.
That was the one
because
we
it.
talked about last time for sure.
Yeah, Popcat. Let's see. Maybe I have so many different. Does somebody else have?
Yeah, Popcat, I'm a big believer. Mumu, I've never really owned it. I know that they have some strong backers, and someone clipped like 2 million or something in one transaction, which is pretty crazy. Um, and then what was the third one, Dempsey?
Uh, Popcat, SCF. That's about it.
SCF, yeah, I'm still holding SCF. I think it's going through, and I want to hear Brent's thoughts on the TA perspective, but I think it's going through the first kind of like 70% correction.
Yeah.
I know they had some FUD, but yeah, what are your thoughts, Brent?
Let's see. trying to find my right chart, but either way, without even looking at it, yeah, no, it's a nice correction. What I like on here, I like SCF in general. I don't have a position in it right now, but just like when anytime people change their PFP on their main account or even make a whole new account with the
Mhm.
PFP, it shows that people are kind of just trying to build something bigger and have like are willing to like promote it publicly. Same kind of thing with Mog. You see with Whiff, all that. They're
Yeah.
doing a whole bunch of stuff with religion and all that stuff. So I think it's I like what they're doing. I think it's interesting. And then on top of that, no
Mhm.
consolidation up top, which if you're first time hearing this, any type of major bottom or top, whether on the lower or higher time frame, the number one thing you should be looking for is consolidation. And then the opposite for corrections. If it doesn't have consolidation on top or bottom, very good chance it's a correction and it'll eventually move back to the upside. So um,
Mhm.
nice correction on SCF. I do think whenever everything else does bottom out, probably after a week or so of consolidation here, it probably does move
Yeah.
higher. I like it kind of on all fronts. It checks all the boxes, same kind of thing.
Yeah, looks like it's bouncing well off that 30 million market cap. So we'll see. We'll see. Again, I'm still holding. I like the project. People are hilarious. I joined some of the spaces and they really have a whole agenda and programming to onboard people. They have you read their, I think that their 10 amendments or something like that
Yeah,
to be
yeah,
able to
yeah.
onboard you. There's some people that are backing the token that are, massive influencers. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm still holding, and then I don't hold any Mumu, but I can see the thesis around being a bull market type of thing versus I think Bobo is the bear market one on Ethereum. So I don't know, Denksy, do you have any thoughts on that?
What's the first commandment of SCF? You know?
You have them on their Twitter page. I think it's the
Oh,
pinned
it
tweet.
is. Let me check.
And there's 10, I believe. It might be.
While he's doing that, I know we're probably gonna quick on time. I did
Yeah.
plug my Twitter earlier, but I do have a Telegram page that I run with my business partner, Boss Man. We started in December, joined up with him, 300 members. Now we're at just about to hit 20K, probably today. I
Yeah.
run like 3 or 4 live streams a week in there, post a bunch of tips and tricks, stuff like that. So if you're into meme coins or just crypto in general, my partner kind of handles a lot of the meme coin side, posts a lot of major stuff as well. So if you're into crypto, meme coins, whatever, um, come in there, tag me, say what's up.
Yeah, most definitely recommend. You guys have grown so fast, and it's probably the only Telegram group I follow every day. So I have a bunch of other ones, and I just like see them as spam. But every time you and Bossman post, I read them, and I try to join your streams whenever I can. So definitely worth it. Everyone follow and
I
join the
appreciate
Telegram.
that, yeah, bro. You've been show me genuine support throughout the last year or two, so I appreciate you, bro. I
Of
love doing
course.
this with you guys.
Where can they find the Telegram? Is it on your Twitter profile
Yeah, so
or
you can
what?
go to my
Yeah.
Twitter profile. I don't know if you guys have it linked here. It is in the bio. It's at Bossman Calls. We have again 20K subscribers, so if there might be a few other like pretend ones on there, but trying to pretend to be us. But if it has 20K subscribers, so it's that one if you're looking it up. But yeah, there's a link in my bio on Twitter.
Should we get Boss Man on
Yeah, I've
this
talked to him.
weekly
I was talking
call?
to him today. He's it's difficult. Well, it's kind of one of the reasons why we've grown so fast. We're kind of on opposite time zones. He's kind of based out of a lot of times in Asia. I'm in the obviously in the West Coast of the United States, so it's difficult with time. But I'll definitely have him come on. We want to do Twitter Spaces as well. We'll have you guys on and everything else as well. But yeah, no, definitely have him on here at some point as well.
Perfect. Well, we have 273 live listeners, which
I
is
love that.
a record for the last 2 weeks.
Let's go.
Um, do we want to add anything else, or is this a good time kind of like to close it up? Any closing thoughts before we kind of like wrap it up for next week here?
I would say just stay involved. May this is like the least enjoyable part of crypto, and everything is just kind of sitting on your hands and waiting during these times. It's really easy to lose money, but if you're
Yeah.
kind of just coming in the last few months, I would tell you the market's on hard mode right now. It does get easier. But the only reason it's going to be fun for you is if you create the better habits right now, kind of get everything in line. and don't lose all your capital in the meantime. So just like hang tight, things will get better, and just keep learning. That's all I can say.
Perfect. Thanks,
We should
T.
have a graphic being like hard mode, easy mode. We can just post
Yeah,
for the
Ho-
degens.
yeah,
Hopefully, it's more accurate than the fear and greed chart from Bitcoin, because that's like extremely inaccurate. But
yeah,
yeah,
I would say it's more if you go from fear to greed, that transition is the easy mode,
yeah,
right? It's
yeah,
not when
yeah,
it's like stable.
for sure. No, yeah. I mean, that's the hardest time is not when things are going down. At least there's stuff going on. It's just when it's the apathy when nothing's really going on. But again, that's usually what comes before the major bull market. So
yeah. Well, guys, great discussion today. Appreciate you joining us today, Bren, as always. Thanks, C. Appreciate you hosting. We'll plan to do this next week, same time, 1 p.m. Pacific time, 4 p.m. Eastern. And we'll see you then. Until then, trade responsibly. Don't use too much leverage. As Bren said, this is in hard mode. So you just want to keep your tokens in liquidity and don't do anything stupid. We'll see you guys next week.
all right,
Yep,
Thanks.
guys, I
for sure.
appreciate
Same
you.
time next week.